breaking news right now. Colts quarterback Andrew Luck is retiring. That's according to ESPN. The bombshell came during the fourth quarter of tonight's Colts last preseason home game. We are going to get you straight over to our Chris Hagan for more, and our minds are just blown by this, Chris.
Unbelievable stuff. This was a preseason game. None of the starters were playing. We were kind of getting through that game and ready to look toward the regular season, which starts just 2 weeks from tomorrow. They've been waiting for Andrew Luck to get healthy. He's dealt with injuries in the past, but he was the comeback player of the year just a season ago. But now, Adam Schefter, pretty much the gold standard breaking news in the NFL. We had to check several times to make sure it was his actual Twitter account, but he says Andrew Luck has informed the Colts he is going to retire. An official announcement is supposed to come tomorrow. But since this story has broken in the middle of this Colts game, we expect to hear from head coach Frank Reich, as we always do at the end of a preseason contest. Now we're being told there could be some others stepping to the podium. Maybe Andrew Luck, maybe Colts owner Jim Irsay, who was supposed to talk on the broadcast tonight in the fourth quarter. That did not happen. Now we have our Chris Widlick and longtime Colts beat writer Mike Chappell. They are at Lucas Oil Stadium as we speak. Let's go to them and get some instant reaction. Chris?
Okay, Chris, we just saw Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, ride by in his cart, and everybody yelled at him. They wanted to get an answer from him. He said, "I'll talk in a minute, guys." So whether that's at the podium or here, we'll stand by. Well, Mike Chappell, a dull game got pretty interesting because of this news that broke in the fourth quarter. What's your initial reaction to this news that Andrew Luck is hanging it up?
I wonder how many years this sets the franchise back. We're not talking the $27 million he counts against the cap this year, the $64 million over the next 3 years. This team is built around the quarterback. This isn't Jim Brown retiring. It's not Barry Sanders walking away. This is your quarterback. This is a guy who's taken you to the playoffs 4 years when he's been healthy. How you recoup from this, I don't know, because Jacoby Brissett, we've seen what he is and his limitations. With Andrew Luck at quarterback, it was unlimited what you could do. And now, once they get past the shock of losing your guy, you go around the league, there's 5 or 6 or 7 quarterbacks. If they do that, it just sets your franchise back. The question is, how long will it take you to get over it? Because they've made moves to be in this position. The offensive line, T.Y. Hilton, and all the young players. And now we've got all the roster spots in pretty good shape, except for the one that really matters. Fans don't want to hear that you're depressed. They're going to say, suck it up and play. Well, you don't know what the guy's going through. You don't know his mental anguish. And the initial reaction is going to be anger. But if this guy's, for him to walk away, we know how competitive and driven this guy is. For him to walk away from something that he loves and has been so good to him, I mean, he's been good to it, I think it just shows you the depth of the inner troubles that he's having. So I understand the anger, but let's have some compassion, because this could not have been an easy decision at all.
That door will soon open, and Frank Reich will walk through it. Will Andrew Luck come through? Will Jim Irsay come through? He told the reporters who were gathered outside the locker room earlier he would talk later. We don't know if that meant later tonight or later tomorrow, but this is definitely the end of an era. You know, remember, pardon my language here if you're easily offended, the whole suck for luck campaign. The Colts were struggling. Peyton Manning was hurt back in 2011. The Colts fans wanted to get that #1 pick, wanted to get Andrew Luck. Jim Irsay talked about the seamless transition, one generational quarterback to another. You had that lined up. Great success for Andrew Luck his first 3 seasons. A step further in the playoffs each and every year. Made an AFC championship game, the famous, infamous Deflategate game, and things kind of went south from there. Chuck Pagano fired. He was back tonight now with the Bears. Ryan Grigson, the GM, fired. You had the new regime in place. Remember the days when you had Polian, Dungy, and Manning? Won a championship with that. You were thinking, okay, perhaps it's in place now. Ballard, Reich, and Luck, but now you're pulling out that Jenga piece, and the whole thing could come crumbling down. Ballard has made a point to say when he came in and Luck was hurt, it's not about one player. An NFL team is not about one player. But when you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, a guy that came out and was supposed to be the best quarterback prospect since John Elway, and you see the great things he was able to do when healthy, now you really wonder just how good is this Colts team. They were expected to compete, obviously, for the AFC South Division title, for the AFC crown itself, and maybe go to the Super Bowl, which you'll see right here on Fox, by the way. But now you start rethinking all that. You start thinking about the pieces that are around. Here we go. Let's go to the podium.
Hello. This certainly isn't how I envisioned this or planned this, but I am going to retire. This is not an easy decision. Honestly, it's the hardest decision of my life, but it is the right decision for me. For the last 4 years or so, I've been in this cycle of injury, pain, rehab, injury, pain, rehab, and it's been unceasing and unrelenting, both in season, and off season, and I felt stuck in it. And the only way I see out is to no longer play football. It's taken my joy of this game away, and this. Sorry.
And what Andrew said specifically there is this is a pain cycle that he's been going through for the past 4 years. As we know, Andrew Luck has sustained many injuries over the recent seasons with the Colts. His labrum, most of all, also abdomen injuries, kidney injuries, and now this latest ankle injury. It's just been injury, rehab, trying to get better, get another injury, rehab, try to get better, and he hasn't been able to break that cycle, and he's been frustrated with it.
More with Dave Griffiths in a moment. Right now, let's go back out to Lucas Oil Stadium. Jim Irsay about to field some questions and comment on Andrew Luck retiring at the age of 29.
We certainly appreciate everyone coming tonight, and we wish Andrew only the best, and we thank him for all his efforts that he's done as a Colt, and going forward, we have nothing but gratitude for him going to battle with us, and you know, we're gonna trust me, we're gonna be ready and show up in Los Angeles. I can promise you that. But right now, we're just thankful about what Andrew's meant to this city. I know a lot of range of emotions go through our fans, and that's a natural thing that we can all relate to. It was something, obviously, that we were hoping that might be something that could have went a different direction, but he had to follow his heart, and that's what he did. And so, again, we have nothing but gratitude and thankfulness for the blood, sweat, and tears he spilled as number 12, and part of our hearts broken tonight, you know?
I think everybody in here knows my relationship with Andrew, that, you know, from the first day I met him, you know, to watch him grow, to watch him go through what he went through, you know, the struggle, to overcome the shoulder, to watch the joy on his face last year playing football, to the moment, we've talked about it a few times, you know, the moment in Tennessee, and, you know, both of us got tears running down our face just from what I watched him go through, and then to win the division in Tennessee, or to clinch a playoff berth in Tennessee. So it was an emotional week. Wish him the best.
You know, it's hard to put into words the emotion that you feel. Thankfully, Chris and I and Mr. Irsay have had some time to digest this, and it's been hard to digest. But we do celebrate his career. Being in that room with him for the last, 18 months was just the experience of a lifetime. You know, a true competitor in every sense of the word, a great teammate, and just one of the truly unique players to ever put on an NFL uniform.
Andrew's a special guy. He really is. You know, uniquely talented. 7 billion people on the planet, maybe 5 or 6 can do what he can do. And so, we're hoping that it's 7 and Jacoby's that guy. So I'll put it that way, man.
Okay, last one. Your introductory press conference, January or February 2017. One of the things you stressed was it can't be about one guy. Andrew's great. Is this sort of going to test your?
Absolutely, and we're excited. You know, I mean, teams win. Teams win. It's what makes this game great. Teams win. Don't write the end of the story yet. Don't write the end of the story yet. Story's just starting, man. It's not the end of the story yet. Everybody gonna write the end of the story, but I'm telling you, the story's not over yet.
Was there a specific event that stepped up for calf or ankle at the beginning?
Last year, or
Just how did it get hurt? How did it start?
he had it dinged last year, some point during the season. I don't know exact date. I don't have stuff in front of me. But then at the end, it was cleared up. I mean, he played in the Pro Bowl. And then in Europe, he started complaining about a calf when he was over in Europe. And we checked it out. Then we got back. We were still treating the calf. Then we went to the ankle. It's kind of what I went through a week ago. I mean, everything we went through, when I went through from the calf, and then we got the calf better, then it was the other part of the kind of the higher ankle specialist, and we did it in May, we did it in August. It's kind of what I said the other day.
Frank, this past week, did you have a separate combo with Jacoby? And what was, if you did, what was that one-on-one interaction like?
No, we didn't, because of the integrity of, not saying anything,
You haven't said anything to him yet?
No, Andrew said something to Jacoby, I believe it was yesterday.
Yeah.
He told Jacoby yesterday. So Jacoby and I just had a brief conversation because this is hard for Jacoby now because these guys are close. And my only comment to Jacoby was, let's just take a couple days to digest this, and then we'll talk after the game. Because Jacoby was pretty emotional about this as well. This is hard for him. They're very close.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you've been listening to head coach Frank Reich, Colts owner Jim Irsay, and general manager Chris Ballard on the surprising news this evening that Andrew Luck, the Colts franchise quarterback, is retiring at the age of 29 years old. And as they said, this is not life or death. This is sports, but it means a lot to people here in Indianapolis. It means a whole lot to Colts fans, and now they're shocked. I got to admit, I'm shocked. I've been covering this team for 21 seasons, and this is the one time I'm almost speechless. Can't believe this news. Andrew Luck, on the heels of his comeback player of the year season a year ago. It started in the OTAs, you remember? We heard things about the calf. Then they said maybe he'll be ready for minicamp. He was not. They said he'll be ready for training camp. He came out, dipped his toe back in the water, looked great when he went out there in the 7-on-7 drills, and you thought, okay, this team is poised for greatness. But the lingering problems in that left leg below the calf, it was kind of hinted at by Jim Irsay on a radio show a couple weeks ago. He said there was a bone issue. That was a new wrinkle in the story, and it's gone on to this point tonight when Andrew Luck, as first reported, full credit to Adam Schefter from ESPN, tweeted it during the game, the Colts in their third preseason game. Fans actually booing Luck as he left the field. He says he heard the boos, and it hurt. Doesn't want to lie. He's given his heart and soul to this city, and personally, I think anyone who calls him soft doesn't know half the story, all the things that he has played through, the pain he's played through. We know how much football means to Andrew, and to walk away at this age, you heard about the money, forget about that. The ultimate team sport, the ultimate respect for the game, Andrew Luck stepping away, saying his heart and soul no longer in it. Let's hear what the QB said just moments ago.
Well, my friends, thank you. And my wife, Nicole, thank you. I love you. And I guess in a philosophical sense, I want to thank football for so many wonderful moments in my life and the pressure, circumstances, environment that pushed me to grow, learn, change in so many meaningful ways. It's the greatest team sport in the world.
Unbelievable, shocking, earth-shattering, pick your hyperbole. Huge news tonight for football fans, not only in Indianapolis, but nationwide. The #1 pick of the 2012 draft, the greatest quarterback prospect since John Elway, a generational talent, calling it a career before he turns 30 years old. That's Andrew Luck, no longer your Colts franchise quarterback. We'll, of course, have much more on this tomorrow morning on the AM show, and then tomorrow night, don't forget about Fox 59 Sports Overtime at 10:30. But right now, a lot to digest for the sports department and for you as fans. It's been unbelievable. Lindsay, let's throw it back to you.
Wow, wow, wow. All right, thanks a lot.